Hi there, I'm Shaun Bindley and this is Meet the Ministers. My guest on the program this evening is the member for Callide, the leader of the Opposition Jeff Seeney. Jeff Seeney, welcome.
Thank you, John.
What made you choose politics?
Well, I often tell the story that I got into politics a bit by accident. I was secretary of our local cricket club, and in the little town where I grew up, the cricket club relied on the council to maintain the cricket fields. We played on a council oval. Yeah. We used to argue with the council about getting work done on the cricket oval, and we could never get the council to do the work that I thought that they should do. Yeah. So when the vacancy became available on the council, I thought this is a way to get the cricket field fixed. And so I stood for the council position and successfully became a councillor in a bid to get the cricket field fixed, and went on from there. So that was really where it all started. Was
it a hard, bumpy deck out at Monto, or a bit of a spinner's paradise?
It varied a bit, but it wasn't a batsman's paradise, I can tell you.
And how did you find it in those early years? Was it an easy transition for you to make?
No, it was a very steep learning curve at every level. I think when I first joined the local government, it was a steep learning curve, but when I joined state government some 8 years later, it was a very steep learning curve as well. I had served on a whole range of committees, community committees, be it the sports clubs and industry organisations and things like that, where you group decision making, where you have to make decisions in a group, but that was nothing compared to the type of group decision making that's involved in local government and then at state government, where you have to take everybody with you. You're used to making decisions for yourself and making things happen for yourself. It is a big transition to make.
Well, it's completely at odds with life on the land when you rely on your own character, your own decision-making process, and your ability to make the right decision at the right time, and I dare I say the strength of your character to make things happen for yourself.
That's right, and a very individualistic lifestyle, and that's what attracts a lot of people. And being in politics, working in groups, depending on support of others, is very much the opposite. So it was a big transition to make.
What was the biggest adjustment that you needed to make in order to successfully make that transition?
I had to learn patience. I had to learn patience, and I had to learn very quickly that it was no good going. It was no good wanting to go any faster than your colleagues. You had to take people with you.
Yeah, you find the pace of the slowest member of the organisation and try and drag them along with you, while realising that often that's going to be the pace that you're going to move at.
That's right. That's the reality of working in groups, and especially in politics, where numbers are important, and so you need support to get anything done.
Is that a hard part to deal with? You enjoy that side of it? Is it a frustrating part that you just have to make the best of?
No, it still frustrates me. I still have to learn patience, and it's a constant challenge. And it's not just me. I've seen a lot of my colleagues struggle to come to grips with it. To come to grips with that, the reality that you can't just make something happen, no matter how right you think it is, and no matter how badly you think it needs to be done. Your first challenge is to convince enough people to your point of view before you can do anything, and that's very different from living your own life and running your own business and making your own decisions.
Politics is that kind of particular beast that can tend to eat people up if they can't find their way through that maze of personalities and making it work and getting people to get along and work together, can't it?
Yeah, I think what I'd say to a lot of the younger guys coming in now is to have reasonable expectations. Reasonable expectations about what you can achieve, and understand that your aspirations have to be tempered by the aspirations of everybody else. You can't expect to get your own way. If you can get a little bit of your own way, if you can move the issue a little bit in your direction, then you've achieved what should be a reasonable expectation.
You need to be happy with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about growing up in Monto. What do you remember about being a young man living out on the land?
Monto was a very small community. It still is a very small community, but we were very isolated in today's terms. A trip to the beach at Bargara at Christmas was a huge outing.
Couldn't be more beautiful though at Bargara, could it?
A couple of hours away now. You know, we slip over there for the day. Brisbane was another world. It was different environment then. We didn't have the travel opportunities that my kids had and that kids have today. So it was much more isolated. Obviously, before the days of the internet and even colour television. I can remember when we first got our first black and white TV. So it was a very different world.
Yeah. You look back on those years fondly, or is it something that you take on board as part of your life experience and moving forward and leaving the old times behind? Is that relevant?
Yeah, I don't remember it with any fondness, to be honest. I think it was probably a restricting experience if I look at it now. I think kids that grew up in later years when they were exposed to much more things and had so many more opportunities. Benefited from those opportunities rather than the sort of lifestyle that we had.
Yeah. Now you were educated in the country, I'm guessing, in primary school, and then went to Brisbane Grammar here in your high school years. So that would have been an interesting transition as well, particularly back in the 70s and early 80s. Brisbane Grammar was a very strong, very sporting school with some grand traditions as well.
It was a real culture shock for me. For my brother and I. The local school only went to grade 10, so we got sent away for our senior years, and to get on the train and 12-hour trip on the train to Brisbane to boarding school, and it was a real culture shock. But it was a great experience. It was one of the things that I look back on as contributing to the person that I am now. Well, I think Brisbane Grammar was a great experience. My brother and I were both there because of our sporting prowess at the time, because we were recognised as having sporting ability, and so that the sport was a big focus. In my case, football, and in my brother's case, tennis. But sport was a great focus, but it also exposed us to a whole new world.
A magnificent opportunity for a young man to go to a big rugby school like Grammar and have the likes of Alex Evans coaching there, and Max Howell, the great headmaster there as well.
Yeah, Max Howell was the headmaster when I was there, and Alex Evans was our football coach, and it was a great association, and those people contributed a lot to a whole generation of boys, of which I was one, lucky enough to be one.
Yeah, very much so. You're watching Meet the Ministers. My guest on the program this evening is Jeff Seeney, and we'll be back after the break.